Hey guys, welcome back to another video today. I hope you guys are all having a great day. So you guys may know I film all my videos, every single clip, on my phone, the Galaxy S10 Plus. So naturally, this has kind of led me to the question, am I actually losing film quality compared to a regular film camera? So the question I'll be trying to answer today is it actually worth it to spend the money and buy a cheap video camera rather than just using what you already have, your phone? So I have here the Canon Vixia HF-R82, and at $250 it may not be the best film camera for beginners, but it's still a great camera, and it'll maybe show you more like an average film camera, so you guys can just get a benchmark of how a camera around this price will perform. Also, big thanks to my uncle for sending out this camera. I'll try to give the best review I can for you. So with the camera, you get some fairly average accessories, like this mini USB cable for uploading photos, which I'll talk more about later, a mini HDMI to full-size HDMI cable, which you actually don't see too often, and especially on cameras of this price point, and of course, the charging cable, which I'll also talk more about later. So this camera will be competing against my phone, like I said, the Galaxy S10 Plus. So let's begin the review and finally answer the question, is it worth it to buy a separate video camera rather than just using your phone? So what I'm going to do is kind of just give a little mini review or feature overview of both cameras, one being the phone obviously, so you guys are probably pretty familiar with one of those already. Starting with the actual camera though, the first thing you'll probably notice is that the camera is actually not a DSLR. It's pretty much only meant to take videos and is very good at capturing sporting events or things far away, whereas a DSLR, depending on which one you get, is great for pictures and videos. Although you do see more DSLR cameras in the film industry and used by many YouTubers, that doesn't stop this camera from still performing really well and even having some advantages over my phone. For starters, the camera is nice and compact at only 4.6 inches long, 2.1 inches wide, and 2.3 inches tall. However, even though this is smaller than every DSLR camera, the phone still wins this one out, being much shorter and even more compact than the camera. Where the camera does pull ahead in design, however, is with its pretty nice 3-inch touchscreen display. Now, you may be thinking, hold on a second, don't all phones have touchscreen displays? And the answer to that would be no, but yes, most of them do. However, with this camera, the touchscreen display is actually able to flip around in any direction, making it much easier when filming because you can ensure you're in the center of the frame and make sure the shots look the way you want without having to take multiple test shots, which is something I do way too often. The screen can pretty much be adjusted in any direction you want, which also makes it very easy to perfectly capture tough angles simply by tilting the screen a little. Now, yes, I am making it sound pretty awesome, however, it definitely has its downsides. The main one being it is pretty small compared to most other cameras, which can make it a little finicky, especially when trying to touch smaller buttons. Trust me, I can get pretty mad when I hit the wrong button 3 times in a row and have to start something over a few times. There is also a lot of color shifting when you're not looking at the screen straight on. However, this shouldn't be a problem because you should always be looking at the screen straight on. That's the point of it rotating everywhere. Comparing this to the phone, yes, the touchscreen on the phone is a lot better than the cameras. However, I'm going to give a point to the camera here just because it's really not that bad, especially for a $250 camera, and you get a lot more flexibility than the phone screen, because I cannot see myself filming right now, and that is something I would love to be able to do. The touchscreen on this camera really isn't that bad. It's just a little bit small and finicky, but that is to be expected for a camera of this price. Now we can move on to the physical features of the camera. I'm not going to talk much about the phone in this part because I'm sure you guys are all pretty familiar with the physical features of your phone. Opening up the screen, you'll first see 2 buttons. The top one is used to power the camera on and off, although I don't really find this necessary because the camera turns on and off when you open and close the screen, so there's really no point unless you want to leave the screen open and turn the camera off, which I don't really understand why you do that, but you can still do that because there is the button. And the bottom button is to view the photos and videos you've taken and also exit that screen. To the right of those, you'll find the SD card slot, which slots in diagonal and is actually pretty cool, with a cover over it to, I guess, provide some protection, and also just make it look a little bit neater. At least, even a camera of this price isn't cheaping out on features like that. Below that, it also tells you how to eject the SD card, in case for some reason you've never done that. That is another feature that is probably never going to be used, but very easy to skip. And that just shows you that Canon really isn't cheaping out on much with this camera. Below the SD card slot and buttons, but still covered by the screen when it's closed, are 4 out of the 5 ports. Going from left to right, you'll find a mic input, which is great if you want an external mic, like for a sporting event or even vloggers. You get an audio video out. You get an HDMI out, which is also great to see coming from a camera of this price. And in the box, you even get a mini HDMI to HDMI, which is something that even premium cameras skip. And lastly, you get a mini USB port so you can upload your photos directly to your computer. Another maybe easier way to upload your photos and videos, however, would just be to get a cheap USB SD card reader like the one I have. I forgot to put it in my hand. Like the one I have here. Now, I would say the camera definitely beats the phone in this category because the only ports I have on my phone are the headphone jack, which doubles as an audio jack, and the charging port, which doubles as an upload jack to upload my videos I take for YouTube. Flipping the camera upside down, you can see the little hole for tripods is present. This is something the phone doesn't have. However, it's very easy to pick up a little accessory to make filming with your phone on a tripod very easy. On the back of the camera is where you'll find the decently sized 2685 milliamp hour battery. Definitely a little small compared to some cameras, but it'll get a few hours of filming time even on the highest video setting. The battery slots in and locks on the back of the camera with a nice satisfying. Because the battery isn't very big, however, I would definitely recommend getting at least two, so when one dies, you can easily swap it out for another. Here's the thing though, because the charging port is actually on the camera, the battery needs to be attached to it to charge, which makes it pretty useless to get two, because the only way you can charge the battery is on the camera itself, meaning if you have two batteries, one will just be useless. Although if you do want to pick up two or more batteries, I would just recommend getting a external battery charger. However, this is going to cost you a little bit more money, which I'm sure you guys don't want to do. I'm sure you'd probably, at this budget, just want to buy the camera and have it work, which it still does. If you just want more battery life though, you'll have to spend a little bit more money. However, because the camera is fairly cheap, that is kind of to be expected. The last physical button that's actually on the camera is the one to start and stop recordings, which is also labeled in case you weren't sure. Above the battery, you'll find two helpful LED indicators, one to let you know if your battery has enough charge, and the other, well, I'm not really sure what it does, but it blinks when I turn the camera on. There's also a nice comfortable strap on the right side which can be adjusted and makes it super easy to hold the camera with one hand while filming. Finally, on the top of the camera, you'll find the zoom slider to zoom in and out. That's pretty self-explanatory. Now we can move on to finally answering the question I've been trying to answer this whole video with a film test. So guys, this is me coming at you from the Canon Vixia HFR82, and if I'm going to be honest, in this setting with this lighting, I really feel like it doesn't provide much competition at all against my phone. However, let's take it outside in some more realistic scenarios and see if it performs any better. Remember, this camera is only $250. So this clip was taken on the camera's highest recording setting, 35 megabytes per second, and on this setting, the videos outdoors look really good. However, because this completely devours battery life, this is what the video quality looks like on its lowest video quality setting. Even though you literally get a 20 times longer battery life, I really don't think on this setting, 4 megabytes per second, the footage is really usable at all. Even though you do get a lot more battery life, I think you'd barely be able to see what's going on. Even on the camera's highest settings though, there are still a few problems. But again, it is only a $250 camera, these problems are kind of to be expected. For one, the exposure isn't great, and some spots are a little darker than others. The dynamic range also isn't great, but I would say maybe better than expected for a camera of this price. However, despite this, most shots still manage to look really good, and the camera would definitely be usable for any sporting event, which I know is what my uncle will be using it for. The shots still look really smooth and pretty saturated, which I actually like, and although you could get much better results, you would have to spend a lot more. Something I know most people definitely don't want to do. You guys are probably asking though, how does this footage compare to the footage from my phone? And I will admit it, the footage on my phone does look a good amount better and smoother. However, this is because the sensor on my phone is actually a lot better, and the software really helps out the final result. The footage from my phone is also pretty saturated, which, as I mentioned, I like, and the footage, in my opinion, looks even smoother than the Canon's. Again, this is just because of the sensor. It's not like they both have identical sensors, but the phone just does better. Where the Canon has a huge advantage, however, is with its zoom capabilities. One thing I'm definitely losing out on while filming on my phone is the quality of the video when zoomed in. Even though the Canon can zoom in 32 times, the footage turns out almost the same as if it would if it were completely zoomed out. The phone can also only zoom in 10 times, whereas I mentioned the camera can zoom in 32. You can see when you zoom in on the phone, well, it doesn't even really need explaining. It looks terrible. So now that you guys have seen footage from a few different scenarios of both devices, I'll just kind of wrap it up and give my final thoughts. So this camera, which remember only cost $250, doesn't look too good in my setup. However, in situations my uncle would actually use it in, it excels. If you were going to try and use your phone to film a sporting event, you would need two things: great battery life and great zoom. Those are actually two things my phone really lacks. Trust me, 4K 60 FPS footage really eats a phone's battery life. I also think if you were going to hold your camera for the 2+ hours the sporting event went on, the camera, with its nice strap, would be a lot more comfortable during that time. If you were going to put the camera on a tripod though, you would still need to get a separate accessory if you want to use the phone. So for my conclusion, the Canon Vixia HF-R82 is a great budget-oriented camera for filming sporting events or other things outside, while the phone looks a lot better and works just fine here in my room. Which is why, for now, I'll be sticking with my phone to film all my videos until I actually get some money and can invest in some expensive film gear when my channel actually takes off, if it ever does. So guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did enjoy, a sub and a like would be massively appreciated, as I am trying to hit 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Trust me guys, I think we can do it. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys thought of the camera and of this comparison. I am still responding to every comment, so if you guys have any suggestions or concerns, just let me know in the comment section down below. With that guys, I hope you like this comparison, to my uncle especially, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.